Hi, Laura here. Welcome back to Joy in Dementia. So, I wanted to talk to you guys about how I'm doing since my dad passed in the end of January. So, it's been about 4 months now, surprisingly. And I also wanted to share a lesson that I learned from that experience. So, I'm trying to share a different lesson each time if you are going through this grieving process and you just lost a forgetful parent. If we have not met yet, my name is Laura Smothers-Chu, and I am the CEO and founder of Befriended Heart, where I help long distance daughters navigate their parents' dementia. As I said, it's been about 4 months since my dad passed away, and it's been, as we know, in the journey of dementia, grief is similar, and so it's been a roller coaster. I'm okay one day, and the next day I remember something and I cry about it. That's normal though, and it has only been 4 months, which is not a lot of time. So I think what has also been difficult for me, especially this month, and I just remembered it recently because I was in such a terrible mood this week and also just not able to get out of this weird emotional funk that I was in. I remembered that it was the unfortunate anniversary of when my husband and I lost our baby a few years ago in miscarriage. And so it's funny because I didn't remember that in my consciousness, but somehow the trauma of that experience was stored in another part of my brain and just came out and was just like, hey, don't forget about me. So I think that's been difficult, especially accumulated with my dad's passing too, that I just have been feeling a lot of loss lately. And so, what has helped my mom and I during this time is we are sending each other quick messages on Facebook or text, and we are calling them dadisms. So, anything that we remember that my dad used to say before the onset of dementia and even during early dementia, but just like something that would be so him. And so I'll share a couple of them. We just talked about how he used to say, "Isn't that nice?" And so you'd think it would be a question because it's starting with the word isn't, but the way he says it is it's kind of saying like how great something is, and like you have to agree with me. So we just shared that, and that brought me joy, and that brought my mom joy in remembering these things because I'll remember some things that she forgot, and then she'll remember some things that I forgot. So I think what is really amazing about our memories as caregivers is we think that we are we don't remember the person because my dad had dementia for several years, and it was hard for me when he was in the process of passing away and even right after for me to remember what he was like and the things that he said before he even got diagnosed. And now it's like those things rush back into my brain, and while they're sad, they also bring joy because I feel his presence in those moments too. And my mom and I are connecting emotionally by sharing those memories. So it's a really great way to reminisce. And so the lesson I want to share today that I learned from our experience of losing my dad is that you may have an issue, especially now with COVID happening. I know there have been some daughters that have not been able to have a funeral, unfortunately, for their forgetful parent just because of the safety issues with passing on COVID and things like that, that it's just like super heartbreaking. I mean, it's hard enough to lose a parent and having gone through the whole dementia journey and then not being able to memorialize their life with a group of loved ones is just so hard, especially if that was your forgetful parents' wish for when they passed away. I think what's been really helpful for us is unexpectedly so, my dad said very specifically he did not want a funeral. He wanted a concert. And this is pretty significant because my dad used to be in a prestigious classical music choir in Pennsylvania. And so his wish was that this choir and the church choir that he'd been singing with gave a choral concert in his honor. And so my mom and I had been planning to have this in the fall at some point, and now we're thinking about, moving it out to 2021. So once the coronavirus is all cleared up and everything, because honestly, just like a funeral or any other event that's happening right now, as there are places that are starting to open up, you still need to be socially distanced. So there are choirs that can't sing together. They're singing together on Zoom, but my mom and I know that the sentiment that my dad had was that everyone would be together in a physical community, in a physical space, especially since my mom and I live in Virginia now. And so what I would like to offer anyone who either their forgetful parent was not able to create a plan for a funeral before they got diagnosed, or maybe you had a forgetful parent that passed away recently and you are really grieving the idea that you can't have a funeral, this could be another idea for you. It doesn't necessarily need to be a choral concert if that's not what you think would, resonate with your family or would have been your forgetful parent's wish, but something similar, some sort of gathering that is really honoring the person that passed away and brings that love together, but in a different way than what a traditional funeral would be. So I hope that's helpful. And I will be talking actually with my friend Heather again. She was on here when I first started this channel. And we will be talking about the questions to ask yourself if you are thinking about moving your forgetful parent out of memory care or assisted living or wherever they may be at this point, whether it's because of coronavirus or because they are not getting the care that you feel that they were supposed to get when you move them into that place. So I will see you next time, and be sure to click the subscribe button below if you want to see more videos. Thanks so much. Bye.